welcome back to the Girly Girl Bookworm. So today I have my winter stats and standouts video for you. I had this all prepped and ready to film a couple days ago, and then Sydney woke up from a nap and I just never got around to filming it again, and I almost didn't get a chance to film this today because I was all ready to go and Sydney's not feeling so great. But I finally got her to take a nap, so I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible. So we've got our winter stats, which means December, January, and February. It's already March, but March is going to be part of my spring months. In these 3 months, I read a total of 34 books, and I DNF'd 2. In December, I read 11. In January, I read 11. And then February, I read 12 books. I read 31 adult books and 3 YA books, so I went adult heavy. And then I got really tricky because I decided that I wanted to try to break it up by genre, but I have such a hard time distinguishing contemporary from romance, so I kind of lumped contemporary and romance together. So together, contemporary plus romance was 15 books. I read 2 historical fiction books, which is terrible considering I had a whole historical fiction readathon weekend that I did back in January, and I only got to 2 because the 2 I DNF'd were also historical fiction. I read 2 nonfiction, so that means I'm meeting my goal there, where I want to read a nonfiction a month this year, so I've been doing really great with that. I read 13 thriller novels. I read 1 fantasy novel, and I read 1 magical realism novel. I read 1 male author, and the rest were female authors. I had 0 1-star. I had 0 1-stars. I had 1 2-star read. I had 6 3-star reads. I had 18 4-star reads, and I had 8 5-star reads, and 1 that I did not rate. So it was really difficult trying to pick out my 5 standouts, especially because I had 8 5-star reads for you. So I ended up choosing 7 out of my 8 reads, but 2 of them kind of are getting lumped together. So I ended up doing a little bit more than my 5 standouts, but it's okay. I make my own rules, right? So the first book that I want to showcase is My Friend Anna by Rachel Deloche Williams. This is a nonfiction read. I, Nicole, am showcasing a nonfiction read in a standout video. I'm so excited. This book was really, really good. This was a book of the month add-on, which I just looked, and it doesn't look like they have it as an add-on anymore. So I think if you want this book, you're going to have to go through Amazon or Barnes & Noble or your local retailer to get it. I don't think it's a book of the month thing anymore. But this is about Rachel, and she is a she worked for Vanity Fair, and while she was working there, she kind of came into contact with this girl, Anna, and Anna kind of makes herself appear to be this big, rich heiress, and as the reader, we know that Anna is a fraud. Basically, she finally comes to realize that Anna's a fraud because Anna makes them, she arranges them to go onto this big trip to Morocco and then can't pay for it. So all of a sudden, Rachel gets stuck with $80,000 worth of debt on credit cards. And she finally is her eyes are then awoken to what Anna is, and Anna was a fraud. And this book was so engaging. I was sick to my stomach thinking about how this is actually real life. This is not a made-up story. This actually happened to someone, and it just made me so sick to my stomach. And I rarely rate nonfiction. That one that I did not rate in my not rating was a nonfiction because I always feel like I'm judging someone's life if I don't give it 5 stars. So for me to actually rate this one was a big deal, and so I really enjoyed this one, and I'm glad that I ended up picking this one up. Manhattan by Candy Steiner came out during the winter months, and this is the 3rd book in the On the Rock series. I will see if I could tag it up above, I have an entire review video about this one in the first 3 books in the series. Old Fashioned comes out this month, which is the 4th and final book in the series, so I cannot wait to get to that one. But this one follows Mikey, or Michael. He is the youngest brother, and he is about to graduate high school, and he basically decides that he just needs to leave town. He just needs to get out of here. His girlfriend, basically bailed on him, and so he's like, that's it, I'm moving to New York. I don't care. I'm leaving. And his best friend, blanking on her name, but his best friend decides that Kylie. Kylie decides that she does not want him to leave because she's been secretly in love with him for a very long time. So she decides that she's going to make this the best summer ever for him to make sure that he doesn't want to leave when the summer is over. So friends to lovers romance, really sweet. I'm really excited to see how the series ends because there is a mystery that has been threaded through the first 3 books, and I guess we finally get the answer in book 4. So highly recommend this trilogy if you have not read it yet. And then I have The Best Man Problem by Maria Inkman. This book I read as an ebook. Actually, I got it through Netgalley, and I loved it so much that I had to go purchase my own copy. And this is technically book 2 in a companion series. Darn it! I just realized that. So I was just able to buy 5 books, and I should have bought the first book in the series, and I didn't. So this is technically the book 2 in a companion series, so they can be read alone. It follows these 3 friends who run a wedding planning business, and one day Lily just decides that she is super lonely after throwing this wedding, and so she goes to the bar, and she ends up meeting this guy, and she decides to have a one-night stand with him because he's staying at the hotel, so clearly he's not going to stay around. She then walks into a meeting the next day for the next wedding that she's planning, and they're like, hey, want to meet our best man? And walks Lincoln, the guy she had the one-night stand with. And she has these rules about how she doesn't like to sleep with people from the wedding party, and then he's got his own things going on, and I loved this book. I was at a point where I was kind of having a reading slumpy type thing, and then I read this, and I devoured it, and it just was everything I needed. Is it probably going to be a 5-star read for everybody? Possibly not, but this was just exactly what I needed at the right time, so I really, really enjoyed it. I loved Lincoln. Lincoln reminded me of my husband a little bit with the dad jokes that he kept throwing out every now and then, so I really enjoyed this book, and I will be going back to reading the first book. Once I'm off my book buying ban, I will grab the first one, and hopefully book 3 will be out soon after. Another book that I read through Kindle Unlimited, well, that one was through Netgalley, this one was through Kindle Unlimited, and this is by Brittany C. Cherry, and Shelby from Shelby Taggart Reads has been telling me to read this book forever, and I did, and I loved this book. I was an emotional wreck after reading this book. This book kind of has 2 timelines in the sense of, but they're told in parts. We see Eleanor and Gray when they're younger. Eleanor's mother has cancer, and Gray is kind of there to try to alleviate everything that she's going through, and they kind of have a romance when they're younger. And then we see them fast forward years later where it's now their second chance romance because they kind of end up going their own separate ways. And now Gray is recently widowed. He's got 2 girls, and he needs somebody to take care of his daughters. And who walks in for the nanny position? Eleanor. So, beautiful story. Will destroy you emotionally, but so good. And I cannot wait to get to the companion series, Landon and Shay. They have a part 1 and part 2 book, and I can't wait to get to those at some point because this one was phenomenal. So much to the point where, again, I had to purchase my own copy because I needed it for my shelf. I finally read The Lake Season by Denise Hunter this season. It came out in November, and I pre-ordered it, and I put it off, and I finally got to it. And this is the first book in her new Bluebell Inn series. Carolina Breeze book 2 comes out this year. And this book, again, Really good. It's a Christian fiction novel. Apparently, though, the romance, besides the one nonfiction, romance knocked it out of the park these 3 months. This is a story about a girl. We meet her and her siblings at a funeral. In the beginning, we find out that their parents have just both died. She was just about to go to Italy to basically do an internship running a hotel, and her brother lives in LA, and her youngest sister is still trying to finish school, and she was living in a house that her parents were currently flipping to be basically a bed and breakfast or like an inn, and she doesn't want to leave her senior year, and they realize that if they sell it while it's like still being fixed up, they're not going to get their money's worth. But if they come back together, fix it up, let her finish high school, they'll be able to sell it for more money. So they decided to open it up as an inn, and it used to be an inn way back in the day. That's why they were going to bring it back to an inn, but it was also a post office at one point in time. So it's fast forward, the inn's about to open. They have their first guest, who is a author who's really famous, but he's kind of incognito. Nobody knows that he's this said author. And they find this letter, and it's definitely a missed chance or missed opportunity that didn't get to where it was supposed to go. So our main character sets off on this mission to get this letter into the right hands, because she's got a lot of regrets with what happened with her parents' death. So there's lots of death and like loss, and coming to terms with who you are and regrets and living your life to the fullest. And yeah, I really enjoyed this book, and I can't wait to get to the next book when it comes out. And then, like I said, 2 books kind of go together. You've heard me talk about them a lot, and that is book 3 and book 4 in the Ones Who Got Away series. This is the one you fight for, and this is the one for you. So book 3 and book 4. This series ended with book 4, and I really, really love this series. It's a hard-hitting romance series with each one follows a friend, and when they were in high school, they went to prom, and there was a shooting that took place at the prom, and they are some of the survivors. Book 1 starts off where they're trying to, somebody comes and wants to put a documentary together, which is why these 4 girls kind of come back into each other's lives. But I love them because they each not only deal with the tragedy of the shooting, and but there's other things and other elements that they're all battling too, something else that's going on in their life. So I highly, highly recommend this series. I have, again, another video where I believe I talk about all 4 of these, so I'll try to link it up in the cards. But yeah, I won't drone on too much about these because I talk about these all the time. But one of my favorite series. So that was how my winter went. How did your winter go? Please let me know down below, and I will see you guys really soon. Bye, everybody.